Hi guys! So, Krystle and I are back. You have maybe seen previously on her channel. We did Never Have I Ever. And now we are going to come back and do some more questions for my channel. We actually had recorded this once already. But apparently my iPad decided to turn the microphone off. So, hoping the microphone works this time. I've got backup going on this time just in case. But we have decided to do different questions this time, just so we can get each other's reactions, because we want genuine reactions.
Yeah, if we already answered the questions, we're going to know what the answers are,
So, some of these we might already know about each other, things that you might want to know about us, but some of them, even knowing each other for 15 years, we don't really know necessarily the answer to. So, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, let's go. Question number 1. And never have I ever been in the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
Well, being I had surgery earlier, or I'm still stuck on 2019. I had surgery last year. I was in the hospital then when I had my kids. And then, how many years ago was that? 5 or 6 years ago, I was hospitalized for 4 days for salmonella poisoning. That the state...
I didn't think I know about that. When was that?
It was when we lived in Minot.
Oh.
They put me... That was when I got really sick, and I went to the ER. They tested me for mono and said, "You have mono, go home."
Oh, right. Okay, now I remember that.
And then I was back the next day because I was worse than the first day. And I'm like, I'm not leaving this hospital until you admit me and figure out what it is. So they admitted me with colitis. It wasn't until after I was discharged and the State Department of Health called me and said, "Oh, where have you eaten in the last month?" I'm like, "What the heck are you talking about? What do you mean, where have I eaten in the last month?" "Oh, well, didn't the hospital tell you? You tested positive for salmonella." Still to this day, my records from that hospital, that shows how crappy this hospital was, states colitis flare.
I've had my share of things like that, too.
The only reason why the hospital here knows that it was actually salmonella, because my primary doctor, which was through another hospital and clinic system, has the result from the State Department and put that in my medical records. Because she requested from the other hospital the medical records there. And when she was reading them, she's like, "They're nothing but idiots."
Yeah, I've been in the hospital. I'm trying to think. I was in the hospital for my jaw surgery in high school. Then 2 weeks after that, I was back in the hospital for a week because of an allergic reaction. I've been in the hospital when I had a reaction to medication I was on. That was like another time. I was there for a week. And then the other times were just like overnight things for the heart ablation stuff. So I've been in the hospital a few times.
Yeah. So that was the first one that came up for me.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2. Never have I ever read a whole Harry Potter book.
Never.
Me either.
I've watched the movies, but I have never read any of the books.
I have started the first one like 17 times. And I get to the first chapter and stop. And I don't know why. I love the movies. I absolutely love Harry Potter.
But I don't know. I've never read the books. And I don't really have any desire to.
I need to get my head out of my bottom and do it, because I've heard that the books, well, in a lot of cases too, the books are way better.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can go into more detail and stuff in the books. So I should read them, but
Like the whole Dobby death scene, I guess it's more than, because the death scene is between the two movies. He dies in the first one, and then the second one is where they bury him. I guess that's in the middle of the last book, but I guess there's a lot more to that scene. There's a lot more. So that's where I'm like, I need to do it. Over Christmas break, my son asked to sit down, and we did it. We watched all the movies in order. It took like 4 days to do, but
yeah.
I mean, I absolutely love Harry Potter. In fact, for our book fair next year in this fall, we're actually doing a Harry Potter theme. And somebody not far from here has actually, I think it's, what is it? Apple Valley Krystle that they reborn to look like Harry Potter. I've been going back and forth.
There was someone actually at the London Doll Show that had a reborn to look like Harry Potter as well.
It wasn't a baby one though. It was the Apple Valley Chris is the 40-inch doll or child kit.
Oh, okay, yeah. It was like I think it was like a 22-inch doll or something like that. Yeah.
And
but it had like the scar, and she had like crocheted like the whole Harry Potter outfit.
Well, this one they kind of made a makeshift one on him. It's the price that they're asking for is not that bad. It's more so just having to drive and get it and come back than the actual price. But I'm like, I would want to track down an actual outfit. But then again, having a child-sized doll, you open up that whole realm of clothes.
That's true.
As much as they're hard to store, that's where I'm like, my just big question is, where would I put it? One, I'd use it for the book fair.
Yeah.
But then what would I do with it after? But it'd be fun to dress.
Yeah, I know.
So I've kind of gone back and forth on him. I'm kind of watching him.
Alright, what's question number 3?
Never have I ever dated someone younger than me.
I'm trying to think. I think I did. I think my first boyfriend was like a year younger than me.
Aren't you older than Alex by a few days?
No, he's older than me by 2 months.
Oh. I have always been the oldest kid in my class. Because my birthday was literally right after school started, so most of the kids in my class were younger than me. I had one boyfriend in high school that was older than me. And then my husband's older than me. Everybody else has been younger. Come to think of it.
No, I'm pretty sure. I think it was just my first boyfriend that was like a year younger than me. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that again.
So yeah, I didn't really have a whole choice if I wanted to date someone in my grade. In fact, one of my boyfriends was... I was a junior in high school and he was a freshman. So, yeah. I have no shame in it. Well, that one, maybe, but other ones, no.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 4. Never have I ever laughed so hard that what I was drinking either came out my nose or I spit out my mouth.
Not through my nose, but I'm pretty sure I've spit out a drink from laughing. Either once or twice, probably in high school.
When we were in Minneapolis, I took a drink and I think it shot out my, not like shoot out my nose, but I think I laughed and it came out my nose. When Heather about peed her pants, I think was when it happened. I know I've spit out, done the spit take. I know I've done that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've done that at least once or twice.
And then from the nose when Heather had to go running to the potty. Okay, number 5. Never have I ever sat in the back of the police car.
Actually, I have.
So have I.
I was about to say I haven't, but then I remembered, yeah, I have.
Mine was...
So with mine, it was my first nanny job, and we had almost been hit by a car.
What?
I never told you this?
No!
I could have sworn I told you this. So we were crossing the street on, like, we had the right of way. It was green. And the cars, like, going the other way, obviously, were stopped at the red light. And just as we got halfway across the street and we were headed east, the cars that were going to be heading north, if the lights changed, one of the cars started inching up right as we were in front of him. And I was like yelling at him to stop. There was people on the other side of the street yelling at him. And he wouldn't stop, and I literally had to bang on the hood of his car to get him to stop. I had to take, like, the kid I was looking after was on the side where the car was, and I, like, threw him on the other side of me and was, like, banging on the hood of the car. So, and thankfully, literally, right across the street was a parked police car.
Nice.
So I called them over, and I was like, this guy was, like, driving into us, and there was witnesses that backed it up, and because I was wearing sunscreen, it smeared on the hood of his car, which pretty much backed up my story. So after they took down, like, our statement and everything, they had called an ambulance to make sure we were okay, but thankfully, like, because he wasn't going fast enough to hurt us, but
yeah.
The fact of the matter is he wasn't going to stop if I hadn't have, like, done something. So, yeah, so after they took all that, they like, basically gave us a ride home in the police car.
Yeah, mine wasn't that. Mine was... My friend and I were walking back from the grocery store that was by her house. And apparently a gas station about a mile away from her house had been robbed by 2 girls that same day. And then, no, it wasn't robbed, vandalized by 2 girls. And the security camera, the cop was just leaving this gas station and driving back to the station and saw my friend and I walking. He would not leave us alone. He insisted that it was her and I. Her brother drove by and, like, was trying to figure out what the heck was going on. So he stopped, and then he's arguing with the cop. He's like, they've been at our house all day except for walking to the gas station, or not the gas station, walking to the grocery store. He goes, in fact, I was driving over to the grocery store to pick them up. Because he was. We just decided to start walking back to the house before he got there. And the cop then made us get in the back of his car. He took us back to her house, where he was still insisting it was us. There was another cop that came with the actual security footage. They had taken the pictures off of the security footage because this was back before smartphones and iPads and stuff like that. The guy was a moron because it was a tall, black-haired girl and a short blonde. Now, my friend is taller than me, but only by 1 inch. And she had, like, bleach blonde hair, and that's her natural color. My hair's always been dark. In fact, it's been dark. It's not been black. But I am shorter than my friend, so a black-haired girl and a blonde or black tall girl and a blonde short girl. It was clearly neither of us.
Yeah.
And when the second client came with the pictures, he literally walked in, looked at us, looked at the cop, and goes, "Did you even pay attention to the security footage?" Because these 2 don't even match the description. So that was in the back of a cop car. And then my dad's friend was a sheriff's deputy. So I had been in the back of his cruiser before,
Yeah.
but not.
My uncle was a cop, so I'm pretty sure at some point I I went in his car at some point too. So
Yeah, I did that, and my dad's friends. Or like, I was walking home from school and he saw me and gave me a ride home.
yeah.
Okay, where are we? Number 6. Never have I ever changed clothes in a car or a public place.
I have.
So have I.
In both car and public.
Same here.
Mostly when I was a kid. Like if we went swimming or something.
Well, that was the whole thing of when you're in theater and
Yeah,
there's
that's
costume
true.
changes, there's no shame, so it carries over
Oh, yeah,
into.
that's true. There was that too. Theater in high school, yeah.
But even at that, like, Brian would get so mad at me. Like, like, even to this day, like, we went to SeaWorld. We went to SeaWorld a few years ago, and I got drenched, and I was wearing jean capris. And I got drenched, and it was driving me nuts. We got back to the car, and I had some, what did I have? I had like leggings or something in the car that I left in the car on purpose. And I'm in the parking lot of SeaWorld changing my pants. And my husband's like, seriously? Of all places, the parking lot of SeaWorld? I'm like, you can keep your jeans on, your wet jeans on if you like. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I have no shame. I did theater. You don't have a choice about changing in front of them.
Yeah, exactly.
As well as I had 2 kids, and when you're in the hospital after having a baby, there's no such thing as modesty because those nurses come in, the blankets go flying, your gown goes up as they're checking stuff. You lose all sense of modesty at that point, and it's like, if I can have that happen, you can deal with seeing my underpants for a minute or two while I change.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're on to number 7. Never have I ever farted and blamed a pet.
I don't think I have.
Oh, I have. The cat was sitting on me. Well, Taffy, our one cat when I lived at home, bless that cat's heart, it had the rankest butt ever. Like, it had, like, man stanky farts. Bad. It was bad. And, like, occasionally, I mean, this was after Brian and I started dating, and this was still in that I'm not going to fart in front of you territory. So, we're sitting downstairs, and he knew the cat had the stinky butt. The cat's laying on the couch behind me. And it was a silent but deadly one kind of squeaked out. Because I'm thinking, oh, this isn't going to be loud. I didn't realize how bad it was going to smell. And I turned around like, Taffy, knock it off. And Brian's just like, so then Brian's like, oh my God, I know the cat's bad, but that's like, then he's getting mad at the cat. And I'm sure there's other times that ones have come up, but that's just the one that came to the top of my head. I can't believe you've never done that and blamed it on Riley.
No, because he doesn't fart. Or at least, I mean, I'm sure he does, but I don't smell them, so I can't really blame it on him.
There's been times that Brian's blamed loud ones on the cat. The cat will be sitting next to him, and I'm like, dude, I know sometimes the cat has a little bit of poof sound to it. That did not come out. The cat would have exploded if that was in the cat. Oh, that man. Okay, now we're on to doll questions. You ready?
Yep.
Never have I ever told someone their doll was cute when it really wasn't.
Oh, I have. Plenty of times.
Same here.
Well, it's like you want to be polite, so, and obviously like everyone has their own taste. So if they're happy with their doll, like, that's all that matters. So I don't want to, like, you know, like, obviously I'm not going to be like, your doll is, like, really ugly.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I've seen some at doll shows, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I agree, and I
feel like, oh, they're really cute.
that I agree, because like even like watching some videos, like somebody's opening, like doing a box opening, and they're so excited about this baby, and it's like I want to be nice and leave a comment. I'm not saying I'm disingenuous, but some of them, it could be also how it comes off on video, like.
Yeah, sometimes, I know sometimes the camera doesn't fully do them justice sometimes, but
there's some that you see in pictures, those, some of those I just keep on scrolling. Just keep on scrolling. Like, yeah, how much did you pay for that? Because it shows.
Yeah.
And back to also the, like, they're excited about it. Some of it I understand, like, some people can't afford 500 plus. And they want a baby.
Yeah.
And maybe they can only afford that $150 doll. Well, $150 Reborn versus $1,000 Reborn, there's going to be a huge difference. Mm-hmm. But I also think if I'm going to be spending $150 on a Reborn, and it looks like that, I'll just go buy an Ashton Drake doll.
Yeah.
Because, well, they're not Reborn per se.
Yeah.
Some of the 150.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're not the... I mean, I've had Ashton Drake dolls, and they're not the highest quality, but sometimes they're still better than what I've seen other people get for the same price.
Yes. And that's just like the Paradise Gallery dolls. I've owned one.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, what you pay for those dolls, at least this was what, 10, 15 years ago is when I owned one.
Yeah.
What you pay for those dolls, I would rather spend the extra money and pay for an Ashton Drake, which is a higher quality doll.
Yeah.
Unless they've changed. Because the doll that I had was supposed to be, like, Reborn looking, and it was, the vinyl was, like, rock hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Number 2 for the doll questions. Never have I ever tried on clothes on my Reborn or doll in the store.
I'm pretty sure I have. Yeah, I definitely have.
That's kind of a yes or no for me. Because there was one day I needed shoes for one of my dolls, so I just took its legs off.
I think I've heard of someone else doing that too.
Yep, I took its legs off and took the legs into the store. And you went, at that point, I'm like, maybe I should have just brought the whole doll in and tried these on.
Yeah.
Clothes-wise, I don't think I've tried.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've done the clothes at least once, maybe twice. I remember, I think, like, the first time I actually went to the fitting room, I was just pretending that I was trying on stuff. Like, I brought, like, like, an outfit for myself along with the baby clothes. But I was really going in to try the clothes on the doll. And then the second time I did it, I just didn't care. I just did it in the stroller.
I might have tried, like, a jacket on.
Yeah, jackets, stuff like that.
I don't think I've tried actual, like, clothes.
Most of the time I just hold it up to them and try to, like, guess that way.
But yeah, other than that, yeah, like I said, I took legs. Because one foot was longer than the other, and the other one was fatter. So I'm like, I couldn't even just bring one leg in to do this. I had to bring both legs, and I shoved them in my purse, and then get into the baby department and pull these legs out and are trying shoes on them.
Oh my gosh.
I've done that. Okay, and our final question for the Never Have I Ever. This will be total number 10, but number 3 for our doll-related questions. Never have I ever acted like my real care was for a class project when I was actually just taking it on an outing?
I think I have.
I have.
But this was like when I was younger. Like this was like maybe around when I first got like my neonate doll. So this was like way back. And I'm pretty sure when I went to the first meetup in Minneapolis, when I was in the airport and got like questions, I passed it off as that.
Well, not long after I got Jaden the first, when I had that Generation 6 that I got reborn. Not long after I got him, I was shopping with my grandparents. And there was a lady that knew that it was like they were school dolls, and she just, I remember when and like just went on about when her kid brought it home for the project. So I'm like, yeah, it's a pain in the butt. Just pass it off then. I've passed it off more than a few times. Like, there was actually, it was right after Brian and I got married. I had a real care. I don't know if it was a 2 or 2+, so I'm sorry, my cat's freaking out behind me. If you can't hear his chains dingling. So I was going into Target and I had my doll with, and a guy that I actually had dated, I did not know he worked at this specific Target. He was a security guard there. And I walk in with the doll and he's like giving me like this weird look because I had the car seat. And then he came over to talk to me because, I mean, when we broke up, we were amicable. We remained friends. In fact, he's still on my Facebook. It was one of those we're better friends than in a relationship type things.
Yeah.
So he's giving me this weird look because he knew I had just gotten married. Like, okay, almost like a, oh, this makes sense now type situation. And then he came over to see the baby, and then he saw that it was a real care, and he didn't know I collected dolls.
Right.
Because I didn't start collecting till after I met Brian. Well, I had dolls before that, but I never knew about the neonates or the baby think-it-over. Well, I knew about baby think-it-overs, but I didn't know where to even begin looking to buy one. Yeah. So, anyways, he's giving me this weird look, and he comes over, and he's like, it's a doll. And I'm like, yeah? And then he goes, it's a doll you're carrying around. Well, then it started crying. And he's like, oh, it's one of those dolls. He goes, are you taking some kind of newlywed marriage class? He came up with it. I'm like, yeah, sure. That's what I'm doing with this. So I passed it off then that it was some sort of project.
Yeah.
And I've probably done it a time or two before, because even now people don't believe how old I am because I'm so short. That there's been times even within the last 3 years I've taken one out and people, oh, I remember when my kids had that for school, and going on and...
I remember also when I came to visit you in North Dakota, when we took them to like Hobby Lobby, didn't we have someone there that was like talking about it, and we were just like, uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah, she was like going on and on about the project and like when her daughter did it, and we're like, yep.
Yeah, we did. I forgot about that.
I just remembered that.
But yeah, so I've done it. Usually I don't bring it up as that topic.
Yeah.
That's kind of going on.
I just kind of go along with it.
Yeah, when they, instead of the, well, why do you have it? If they're going to come up, they know what it's for, they're going to assume it's typically for a class, and okay, I'll let you keep believing that it's for a class. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. In the middle of summer, why do I have it? Oh, because I had to take summer school. So, yeah. That was the end of my 10 questions. So I hope everyone enjoyed this information